Hi guys, LR here from l.r.media on Instagram and more-photo.com.au. Today I want to do a little bit of a follow-up video to my last video where I gave my initial impressions of the Canon R7, which is right here. And in that video I mentioned that in the lens choice selection portion of it, that I bought this camera, and that when I bought the camera I pretty much knew that I was going to be buying this lens, the Sigma 18 to 35mm 1.8 art lens, specifically in mind. So when I bought the camera, I had this combination of lens and camera in mind when I bought the camera body, and then I think it was a month later I ended up buying the lens. So I just want to talk about this combination specifically, and also the lens in general. Okay, so first talking about build quality and how does it, how's the size and the feel on the Canon R7. Well, I personally think that it's excellent. I enjoy it. Is it a little bit long with the adapter? I think it is. It'd be much better if that wasn't there, and it would make it a little bit shorter and perhaps a little bit less forward tipping, especially with the lighter R7 body. Having said that though, the actual construction of the lens is excellent. It's got a very metal feel, very solid. It's not overly heavy, but it has a good sort of solid weight to the lens, so you know that you're holding a quality lens. Yes, nice big focus throw, nice big grips here. The one thing that I don't like about the construction of this lens is that it has the Nikon thing where the zoom goes the opposite way. So I'm used to Canon where the minimum would be here, and then you'd zoom across to zoom in, and this is the opposite. So if I have it here, this is 18, and if I zoom this way, I go to 35. It's not a deal breaker, it's not a big deal, and you get used to it pretty quickly. It's just from shooting Canon zooms for so long, it's something that I've gotten used to, so you sort of have to rewire your brain a little bit to get that to work for you. Okay, next let's talk about image quality. And I'm impressed with the image quality on the R7. Now the R7 is a very high megapixel sensor with a very demanding resolution of 32.5 megapixels. So it's going to put any lens to its test, especially a lens that's older. Now, my personal thoughts and feelings are from someone that uses lenses. Like, I don't shoot test charts. I can only go off the other lenses that I have. Now I have the Sigma 35mm 1.4 art lens and also the Sigma 50mm 1.4 art lens, and both of those lenses are excellent. I'm shooting on the 35 1.4 wide open at the moment to shoot this video, and I would have to say that the quality of this lens is probably somewhere between the 35mm and the 50. The 35 can be somewhat soft wide open, especially if you go out of the center of the lens. The 50 is pretty good wide open, even on full frame with minimal vignetting, and this lens sort of falls in the middle. In terms of sharpness, I find it acceptable through the whole zoom range, although there are certain points where it is more and less sharp, and you have to compensate for that by maybe adding maybe 5 more points of sharpening in Lightroom, but I haven't found that to be a deal breaker or a major issue. Like I said, I just check the file, check the eye. If I feel it needs a touch more sharpening, I add it. If I don't, my default is usually 60, and if I feel that it needs more, it'll go between 60 and 70, which some people might think is high, but I find that on this sensor, the files take sharpening much better, and it doesn't look over sharpened at all. So your mileage may vary. In terms of color reproduction, it's excellent. It matches seamlessly with my other Sigma Art lenses. I personally like the look of the Sigma Art line. Some people say that they're a little cooler or more green in tint than the Canon lenses. I've always found that I prefer the look of the Sigma lenses on my Canon cameras than I do certain Canon lenses. Of course it's a lens by lens comparison, but I've found the Sigma Art line to be very consistent in the look that it gives. I prefer the rendering of the 18 to 35 1.8 to the 35 1.4, and I think that the bokeh on this lens is probably better than the 51.4 Art too. So it's all around a very well-performing lens in terms of both build and image quality. Going on to the last point, how does this combination work together? So if you're specifically looking at buying this lens for the R7, is this the way to go? Now, you might have seen a lot of people recommending this as the ultimate lens for the Canon R7, even though it's an older lens and it is an EF mount lens and it is an adapted lens. I would have to agree with that statement, because I don't think you're going to find a better value for money, better performing lens for the Canon R7. It just doesn't exist. This is it. It's right here. The 18 to 35 millimeter gives you an equivalent of about 28 to 55 millimeters, which is not. I would prefer it would be sort of a 25 to 50 millimeter equivalent, but it's great. I've used it at a couple of shoots exclusively, just taking this lens, shooting environmental portraits, and I have found the versatility of it to be very useful. And I brought this and my Canon EOS R that I'm filming on now, and I think I had the 85 on the Canon R, and it didn't leave my bag. I just used this the whole time. I just found the ability to go quickly in and out and get different shots and angles just to be great. Even as someone that's coming from shooting nothing but prime lenses for about 5 years, I just love it. You know, it still gives you 90% of that look of prime with the shallow depth of field shooting at 1.8. But still gives you the versatility of a zoom, which is fantastic. And I think the only other lens that would give you that same sort of thing would be the new Canon, is it 28 to 70 f2, which I've seen in person at the last shoot I went to. Someone had it and it was absolutely massive. I've never seen a lens that big outside of the sports and wildlife lenses that had those huge front elements on them. And it is a very big lens, and I'm assuming it's heavy though. You know, I just saw it. Someone had it on their camera and I was talking to them about it, and they did say that they found it to be quite heavy. But this is almost a better option, because this is a reasonably sized lens. It's got a reasonable weight to it. You know, you could use this all day long. Your arm's not going to get overly tired, and it's incredibly affordable. So for this lens in Australia, I got it brand new for just under $800. It was on sale at the time, but that is amazing. And it's about the price that they go for used over here too, which is strange, but it's one of those things where, I don't know, it's a fluctuation in the market. But if you can pick one of these lenses up for a good price, in good condition, and like I said, they are very well built, it's a no-brainer if you've got an R7. Now, one thing I want to mention too is even if you've got a full frame camera that shoots video and you consider yourself sort of wanting to go that route, this is also a great lens to pick up for that, because it's giving you, if you've got any sort of a camera that has a crop, or, you know, I mean, when you shoot, if you have a crop on your video, this is going to fit on. I know with the EOS R, it fits on, and you know, you don't notice any difference because it crops in 4K. So that's also where this lens can have sort of a double duty. And if you've got a higher megapixel, some of the new cameras where you have a crop mode like the R3, maybe this is a choice for you too. Like I said, there's not many other lenses that fall into this same sort of category of a high performing wide aperture zoom lens with great image quality. Okay guys, so that was just a bit of a follow-up video I just wanted to make about the Sigma 18 to 35mm 1.8. I'm extremely impressed by the lens. I'm happy I bought it. I'm happy I bought the R7, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So if this helped you, please hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.